as we are kind of stepping into our power as women at this point in our careers, men don't have a similar thing that they go through in terms of their brain fog. So they're like full steam ahead with, kind of being elder statesmen. And we're just sitting here kind of hemming and hawing and feeling less than ourselves. Man, that chaps my hide.
I'm Dr. Kathleen Jordan. I'm Chief Medical Officer at Midi Health, where we work to help women achieve their best health in midlife. So we're going to talk today about brain fog and brain health with these three fabulous women, Willow, Millie, and Lindsay. All right. Have we all had brain fog?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay. So how would you explain it to someone who's never experienced it?
It's like being exhausted to the point where, or almost like if you're like a little hungover and drunk and you're just like struggling to like put the concepts together, or you're looking for a word, you know it and you can't get there.
Well, with me, I'm working on my dissertation, and clarity, the sentence structure, all of that has to be on point, and I'm struggling in that area. It made me feel like I was losing my mind at times. It was like, when is this nightmare going to be over?
Yeah.
I've experienced that. Yeah. I work in sales. So it's like confidence, like that projection of confidence at, all the time, or even in a workplace setting where I just like, I freeze. And I do have like a history of some anxiety, but it just like amped it up to a different, ratcheted it up in a different level. And I think that it did really impact how I went about my work day, or the ADHD that goes along with that brain fog of I was doing this.
Yeah.
And then I took the long way, to get there, or avoidance. That's really impacted it. Yeah.
And it's aggravating to me that as we are kind of stepping into our power as women at this point in our careers, men don't have a similar thing that they go through in terms of their brain fog. So they're like full steam ahead with, kind of being elder statesmen. And we're just sitting here kind of hemming and hawing and feeling less than ourselves. Man, that chaps my hide.
I noticed, that my recall or recollection is not as strong as it used to be. My family, a lot of them, count on me as for the planning, emotional labor type duties.
I feel like when things like that happen, though, women get concerned that it's like the first sign or the beginning of the end or the first sign of dementia.
Yeah.
And because also we're taking care of our elderly parents and some of us are seeing dementia.
I saw my grandmother go through Alzheimer's. So, I'm always thinking, it's going to be me? Did I get that part of the DNA from the family?
But brain fog is not the same as dementia.
Yeah.
So brain fog is temporary. It improves. It's actually kind of your body's struggling to manage all the hormone swings, really. Dementia is a progressive disorder. So that's sort of the biggest difference. And I think it's very reassuring when women hear that brain fog is temporary. It's also not progressive.
Yeah.
And it's hugely common, right? So you can get early dementia, but it's much more rare.
And I notice when I get the proper amount of sleep, now that I'm sleeping better, I'm much better now with the brain fog.
It's amazing when you feel well rested.
Yeah.
Like what you can do, how you show up, just like that small change. It's like, it feels so simple, but getting a full night's rest.
So important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to give myself a little bit of grace.
That's good. Not be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Because I think there is a lot of fear and I think there's a lot of shame. And I just try and kind of normalize it. Like, I'm just totally blanking on this right now. I'll come back to it later.
That is so good.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of strength to do that too.
Brain fog does not mean you're any less capable than you were before. It may mean it's harder to focus or harder to remember stuff.
Are there things that we can do other than getting rest?
You're not going to like my answer because you and I have talked about this before.
It's exercise, isn't it?
Exercise actually can help with brain fog quite a bit. Because when you think about it, you exercise, it it actually increases serotonin. You feel really clear and you feel strong, you feel confident, but it actually changes your neurotransmitters. It actually helps. Have you ever heard of Alzheimer's or dementia being called diabetes type 3?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. What have you learned from it?
It was a concern with a family member. So I had just kind of started to do some research around what that looks like for them, and just noticing a significant spike in what they were consuming and the amounts of sugar they were consuming, along with, their age. And so it's something I am slightly familiar with.
Yeah, there's actually an increasing amount of science around it. So they show that persons with dementia actually have higher brain glucose going on. So they know there's an association. So there is an increasing interest in actually managing our glucose better. But also hormone therapy can actually help. I think there is a research project at Cornell called the Brain Initiative study that actually looked at, I think, what you were talking about, which was PET and MRI scans that actually show when our estrogen depletes, it actually changes the metabolic activity of certain parts of our brain. Again, IQs are fine. We are just as capable, but it does kind of explain why we have some extra challenges during the change. And then I find a lot of women come in asking about testosterone. So that, I think with testosterone, there's lots of data that helps with libido, but there's like emerging interest in it potentially being helpful with brain fog and overall brain health. That I think is interesting. I think the jury's still out on the conclusion there, but I do find some women anecdotally rave about testosterone and mental clarity. I think actually just talking to women and letting them know that they're empowered to actually make brain fog symptoms better, right? There's everyday stuff you can do. There's diet, there's exercise, there's optimizing sleep, but also there's some supplements that have been shown to help, like omega-3s, choline, antioxidants, B vitamins, all of that can actually help. You either get it in your diet or you can do a supplement depending on if you have a restrictive diet, but just feel empowered. The other fun thing to kind of note is that there have been studies that show just giving yourself the grace and just saying out loud that you're having a brain fog moment actually makes you appear more confident at work. So you are actually perceived positively. And I think women have been afraid to say things, but actually you're actually perceived more positively when you do. So your comment about giving grace is profound.
Oh, well, thank you.
That is really good. And it shows that you're still in control. You have control of the situation and you're not like, I'm falling apart. Yeah. That's when you lose respect of your peers, when you start to get like clumsy, whatever, clumsy. Yeah. But she's showing that strength and control by being honest and transparent.
I think as women age, they're wanting to stay strong and they're wanting to stay mentally acute. And I think they want to stay out of nursing homes. And if you look statistically, women live longer than men, but we are 2/3 of the cases of Alzheimer's disease. We are who are filling nursing homes, right? So we spend these last years very frail, vulnerable, and with a disproportionate amount of dementia, right? So I think it's really important what we choose to do in midlife and in perimenopause and menopause is going to dictate how we spend those last decades of life. So leaning into hormone replacement therapy, I think, is one way. It definitely helps us stay strong, not frail. Optimizing our cardiovascular disease risks, not smoking, drinking less. Like there's lots of proactive things you can do that are going to impact the outcome of your brain health, your overall health, and avoid the things we want to avoid.